All right, NES Makers Day 22, and yes, I have to have this much energy this early in the morning or I will not survive the day. I have to start really strong and project as fast and hard as I can in order to just sort of coast through the rest of the day because there's a lot to do, so much to do today with Bite Off going and everything else. And Midwest Gaming Classic coming up is very exciting. If you're following this in real time, games are starting to come in. They look cool. Some of them look amazing. Some of them are first-time contributors. Just really cool stuff. And I'm hoping that this is helping you get your project ready, even if you've never done this before. Or if you're watching this not in real time and you're seeing this down the road, it helps you, know how to use this tool and make a NES game. And even if you're not using NES Maker and you're just watching for fun, gives you some ideas about game design in general. And today we're going to be talking more about design than we are about development. We're going to be talking more about starting to make levels out of this thing. And what we're going to find out is that there is a lot of little places where we had the problem that, remember what we had to do where we have these two different collision tables. We have this collision table on even and we have one on odd, and we had to do that for statues. We're going to find out that we got that problem all over the place. And you know what? The fix is as simple as copy and pasting. And the reason that we were finding that is that a lot of these macros were built for single screen games. A lot of these codes were built for single screen games. And these modules here are meant so you can easily throw scrolling into any of the modules. So scrolling revolves around having multiple screens. So if we wanted to be able to open this module up to be able to scroll and use the scrolling in the camera and things like that, it needs to have two name tables and two collision tables loaded at all times so that it can make use of the scrolling. But the macros themselves are only geared towards single screen games. So all we got to do is tweak them and by copying and pasting from what we've already done. So before we do that though, I'm going to make an actual game. So I've got a whole bunch of components here. The things that I've got the lock block with the push block. I've got this which takes me to a next screen if I collect all of the diamonds in a room, and I hate my diamond. I have to fix that. But I also have these statues that can shoot at me. I have monsters that run around. I have a thing that can pop up, or whatever it is, the coin that can pop up that allows me to kill the monsters. So there's all kinds of little mechanics that I could start, working through. What I want to do is definitely teach the player how to play the game. So this is not going to be my first screen. This was a sandbox screen. This is not going to be my first screen or second screen. This is still going to go here. But what I want to do is I want to build a template screen, since this is a game that, I've got a lot of templated features to each screen. Like I'm making like a single screen game, like a Pac-Man style game. So what I want to do is I made this, if I can turn on the right palette, I'm opening my background graphics right here. And I made this as the top wall, but I really need like a vertical wall as well. And the best way for me to make a vertical wall is I need two. I need one on the left and I need one on the right. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it twice. And I actually am going to need a fully vertical wall. I need to make the corners, and then I need to make the walls. And so I'm going to need to open my other one as well. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab black. Grab black, and I'm going to think out, where this might be, and sort of really give it sort of a harsh corner here and an edge, and make it look organic. I don't want it to look too rigid, because the rest of this rock really suggests that it's organic. So I'm kind of snaking this through, and then I'm going to add, the little slider color. So I'm kind of basically emulating what's happening here, coming down the side. And unfortunately, I can't just take this and flip it, because this section is different right here. So same thing over here. Kind of give it a harsh corner, come down, and come down like that. And that'll actually make it look pretty seamless. I might want to give this more of a shadow right here. So I might want to do something like this. I want to give this more of a shadow. I can really tell that it's cornered. And then take my lighter color and come down through like this. And then my darker color and come up. Okay, so I'm just sort of making this sort of edge, and you're going to see what I'm doing in a second. So I also need adding another tab. I'm going to open that, this right here, and I'm going to copy, load up the same graphics and same palette. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to copy this, I'm gonna paste these in here just temporarily. So paste these in here just temporarily so I can see where this lines up. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab half of this right here. So I'm going to grab this half. I'll put it on this side. Oops. I'm going to put it on this side. So that should line up, right? And then I'm going to grab this half and I'm going to put it on this side. And that should line up. And I'm not going to use these at all. These are just for reference for me for a second. But now I can easily go through and sort of finish what I started here like this. Just kind of make something that's going to loop. And it's going to snake through like that. And this one's going to snake through sort of like that. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to make a darker edge. You can kind of see the wall starting to appear already. You can kind of see how it looks like it's a vertical edge. And I'm trying very intentionally to make it imperfect because this is supposed to look organic. It's not supposed to look like a brick wall or steel wall or anything like that. It's supposed to look organic. And then what I could do is I'm just going to, oops, come here, black. I'm just going to take this entire thing and paste it here so I don't waste the tiles. I'm going to save this. The other thing I could do maybe is I might want to, and I'm doing this really quick, but I might want to make the inside of this kind of shadowed so that it looks like it's a shadowed edge, and that these are connected like that. I don't know. I'd really want to take my time with this if I had the time to make this look cooler, but you get the idea. Okay, so I'm going to save this now. And I'm going to make a template screen. And for my template screen, I'm not going to worry about game state or anything like that. I do want to go to tile layout. And the tile layout I want to use is main. I want to use 2 and 3. And about 1. Okay. And now I can see what I've got for my template screen. And why I did what I just did a second ago is I'll put this across the top. And then I'll put a row of this. And then I got these corners. So I got a corner here and a corner here. And then I got these edges. So this edge will come all the way down. And now that looks way more compelling than if I just had the wall or whatever. Like this now looks like an edge. And this can just go straight across like this. Oops. And I usually will put, even though I could just get away with 16 by 16, don't forget the bottom part of the screen is going to get cut off. It's the safe area. So I usually still like to put a full wall at the bottom, and I get sort of this sort of rectangular play area. And now I can go through and, add the interior stuff if I want, make it look, this is just aesthetic stuff. So, I want every screen to sort of look different. So I don't want to add a ton of the detail aesthetic stuff like the rock pebbles or, and you know what? I might not even see this if I think about it because this would be behind the wall. So it's actually probably better if I don't see this, right? It looks like it goes behind the wall. But doing this just gives me some visual interest to the room. And I'm going to steer clear of adding this kind of stuff because I'm going to add it in different places in the different rooms. So this is a good template. I'm going to add collision info. So I'm going to make sure I have solid. And so now that I have a templated screen, I can start adding what I'm thinking of as a tutorial level of a bunch of screens. So collision, come back, go to my overworld. I'm going to this way I don't have to recreate that every time to get sort of a starting base. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And the way I copied it, don't forget, you got to be a little bit intentional. You click on it, Control C, kind of hold it for a second, click on where you want it to go, Control V. If it doesn't work, just try it again. It'll work. And I'm going to make a couple of these screens. So I'm going to paste it here, say like that. You got to be a little bit more intentional with, sometimes it just doesn't like to work. And sometimes it likes to work fine. What's the rhyme or reason? I don't know. So I made a couple of screens. And I could just always go back to this one. If I fill all these in and then I need another one, I can copy out of this one and come here. So the first thing that I need to set up here is I want to set up the whole idea that when I get this diamond here, which I hate the color of my diamond, but it is what it is. If I get this diamond, I'm going to go to the next screen. Now, I'll come back and I'll add some flavor and some color and make this look more interesting in a minute. But what I need to do is I need to set a warp in location. So I'm going to show up right here. And I need to say, where do I want to go? Because don't forget, I just erased the screen. So I want it to go to screen 1, 0, which is the one right next to me. So it's 1 in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction. It's going to be this screen right here. And then on this screen, I need to set my warp in location. And I'm going to make some modifications to this one. But just so I know it's a different screen, let me add a couple of these, just so I can tell that this screen and this screen are different screens when I go there. And then I've got to set up so I want this screen to go here. Everything should work as planned. I should go to this screen. It should take me there. I should get the diamond. It should take me to the next screen. Then I'm going to start to run into some issues when I want to start doing some of the cool mechanics that we had. And we're going to fix some of those scripts. So I get this. Oops, I forgot to make it a diamond. So go back here. Collision, forgot to make it a diamond. So I need to make it my prize tile. And try that one more time. And here we go. A dungeon? Oh no. Boom. And on the second screen. So far, so good. So now I know, I get it. I need to collect the diamonds because there's nothing else I can do. So when I get to the next screen, I want to introduce a new mechanic. So depending on how long I want to spread this out, I'm going to make a new wall. So what I can do is I can do this, which is kind of a neat trick. I'm going to do like an interior wall right here. And like this. Now, I don't really have a good interior edge here, but what I could do is this will look okay. It'll still sell it, right? And if I want to keep the height maintained, I might do something like that. Or this would be a great place for me to use my bricks. So that's kind of neat. And if I wanted to, I could go in and do this. And the whole purpose of this is that I want to set up sort of an area that's guarded by a lock. So I've got this lock block. And I want to put a diamond behind the lock. So I want to set up the idea of the push block. So what I'll do is I'll put a few diamonds here, like this. But I'll also put my push block. And I'll also put the push block trigger. And I want my guy to appear like right here. So set warp in location. So again, I have nothing that can hurt me on this screen. I need to go to collisions. I already had all the external collisions set up because that was part of my default screen. So now I can go to solid and set up my solids to be here. Set up my solids. I don't need any more solids. I do need a few more prizes. 1, 2, 3. I need to set up my push block trigger. I need to set up my push block. And I need to set up my push block lock here. Now, the problem that I'm going to have when I go to collect all these diamonds and stuff like that is that, guess what? I'm not reading the collision table 2 right now. I'm reading collision table. I'm going to show you where that is in the script. And what you would have happen is as soon as you collected 1 diamond right now, there would be no diamonds on the screen because if I look, let me test this and I'll show you what I mean. You can kind of get an idea for what's happening visually from the picture processing unit. It's happening with the collisions, which we don't have a way to represent. But if I bring up my picture processing unit by hitting Control P, that's this. You can see what's happening. I've got screen 1 loaded. I've got screen 2 loaded. And look, it's loaded half of screen 2. And this is the screen prior to this one, which is actually screen FF, which is the last possible screen, is what I'm seeing on this side. And again, this allows for scrolling. So Now you can see this is the screen that's loaded, but guess what? I'm still reading off of this collision table. So if I collect one diamond, it's going to look through all these and see, is there any more diamonds? And it's going to say no, and it's going to try and take me to the next screen. So what I've got to do is I'm going to come in here and let's find, actually, I'll show you what we're looking for. These are the scripts that we're looking for. Remember the sprite pre-draw script? We did this in the sprite pre-draw script. So if you need to find that, again, don't forget scripts, script settings, and just go down to game and look for sprite pre-draw. Okay, and that'll bring this up. And if you go down a little ways in the sprite pre-draw, we start looking for the left statue right here, right? We do this loop. And it used to say load collision table Y, and it checked Y to see if it was tile type number 7. If it was, we shot. But a couple days ago, we had to change this because we needed to look at the name table that I was currently standing in. And if it was even, it needed to read from collision table. And if it was odd, it would need to read from collision table 2. Guess what? All I have to do is copy this all the way until this label. So I'm going to load the name table, and anytime I need to do the comparison or whatever, I'm pulling, that's where this label is going to end. So I'm going to grab this, copy it. And the places that I need to look, if I scroll down towards the bottom of the script, this is where I do the push block stuff. All right. So if I look at the push block stuff, we can see there's a few places where is it? Right here. I'm checking for collision table Y. I need to know whether I'm on the left or the right thing. And here's the comparison. So instead of this, I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to just paste in what I just copied. And I'm going to just tab that up a little bit. And now I need this label. Oops. This label is at the end. And this is not done with tile update anymore. This is check tile. And I can put, this is where, sorry, check tile. Okay. So now what I've got is, if it's an even table, it'll come here and it'll load from collision table and then compare that to OC. And if it's odd, it'll load from the odd table. It'll load from collision table 2. And it'll jump to here and it'll compare it to check C. I'm going to grab that again. I'm going to make sure to include check tile. And look, here it is again. I'm loading from collision table and I'm comparing it to temp D to see if it's a lock. I don't want to do that because it might be on an odd screen. So again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to tab it in. And now, depending on if I'm on an even or odd screen, it's looking at collision table or collision table 2 instead of always just checking collision table. And the other place, I think that is all that I need to do there. But then on my prize, I've got the same problem. So I'm only checking to see if on collision table, it's the even collision table. So I'm going to paste this and comment out this. And again, now I could, if I hold shift and tab, now this is doing the same thing. If it's even, it's going to check even. If it's odd, it's going to check collision table 2. And it's going to compare that to 5. So now the behaviors should, I think, work as expected. So just preempted a bug that I saw that was going to happen based on what we've been doing before. And a dungeon, oh no. So didn't have to write a whole lot of lines of code, just have to know where to copy and paste. So now if I collect this, shouldn't go anywhere. Now I push this block, and the door opens, and I get this. It's probably going to take me to screen 0, 0 because I didn't set a screen to go to. So, yeah, it took me back to screen 0, 0. Okay, so now I want this to go to the next screen. So I want this to go to screen 2, 0. Come here. That's going to take me here. All right, so now we've set up the idea of the push block locked. And what we should maybe set up next is the idea of, I don't know, maybe we have the other things that we have are monsters, statues. So maybe now what we've got is let's do statues. Let's do a statue in the middle of the room. So maybe now I can do a completely different style room. And I want to set up the idea that there's a statue that can shoot at me. So right in the center of the room, I don't have an exact center because even number of pixels. So I'll put it here and I'll make it a pillar like this. And maybe this room, because of that, has pillars. And we'll have a brick wall. So I'm now in somewhere that is more of a temple, you know? Again, just trying to sell the narrative like I'm entering sort of a darker, scarier area in the temple. And because of that, I'm going to need bricks because this lines up with bricks. Like this. Or I could make another tile here that looks like the rocks instead of the brick tiles. That would also work. And maybe with this one, I just want it to go all the way up like that. Or, you know, I could figure out some different solutions here. But the idea is maybe now I have, you know, a couple of diamonds, but I'm going to have to stay away from this guy. So I've got a couple of diamonds like that. And I'll go to my collisions. And I'm going to have to update. So first, I'll update my solids. And I want to update this one to, I'll do left statue, doesn't really matter. And then prize tiles. And so now I've got this situation. And again, when I get to this one, it's, oh, you know what? I have to set warp and location. I have to set warp and location. And I'm going to set warp and location somewhere down here. I have to go up and around, but he's going to shoot at me. So I then want it to go to 3-0, which is this screen. And I'll just set warp and location that way when he goes there. Set warp and location. Okay, now I'll test it. And now I'm setting up all of the sort of mechanics and the things I can expect. So we can almost think about this as sort of a tutorial level. Every screen is having slightly different mechanics. So these were easy. They're just trying to make me figure out how to play. But then this one, oh, snap. He shoots at me. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so that worked. So great. Now I've got that set up, and what I can do is I could create, you know, maybe I work in my conveyors, right? So now I would put in, let's start combining some of these. So I could put in, let's say, 2 statues. So I'll put in a statue here. And a statue here. And oops, I'll do this. And again, I'll do the bricks. Oops, where did I get my brick? This one. Okay, and then maybe I'll do some different designs to the screen. Like maybe I'll do this kind of thing. And let's say I want to make this black right here, right? I could just use a black tile that comes down like that. Some negative space might make this look interesting. And then I will do a brick tile that comes out like this. I don't know, something relatively interesting, something like that. And so this will shoot at me and this will shoot at me. And I don't love that it's not symmetrical. So I'm going to take this. I don't know why that's bothering me so much, but I'm going to copy that and paste it here. Okay. And now I'll use conveyors, and I've got this sort of conveyor that will push me up. And I think it was this one that changed the color, or was it this one that changed? I guess it was this one that changed the color. All right. So I'll have this that pushes me upwards. And I want some bricks sort of around this, so that I have to go up through that, maybe? I don't know. Something like this. But then this is going to get weird because I can't get back down through. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do this. And then I'll do this. And I would love to set up like one-way blocks or something like that. That might be kind of neat. But now I can set up a bunch of coins that I can, or a bunch of diamonds I can get here and here and here and here and here and here. And now I've got 2 statues that are going to be shooting at me. And this is terrible. I don't know why I have this going on. So fix that with that. Fine. It's not great, but that'll do. And then I'll go back through and I'll set up my collisions and solid. You can see I've got some things to set up for solid here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to start figuring out like what structures are working and what's not, what's fun, what's too hard. And I shouldn't get married to any of these designs. I should be okay with, these designs changing and then being malleable. That's okay. I'm going to go to prize. And that's going to be really precarious because I've got to get right up next to the statues. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that my warp in location's there. And test this. And then my last one, I'm going to put some monsters running around. I'm not going to have the statues. Dungeon. Oh, no. Get this one. So now I get the idea with the lock blocks. I get this one. Now this guy's shooting at me. Yikes. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so I got 2 lives. There we go. And yikes. Okay. Oh, I forgot to make those prizes. It's going to be really hard, but the conveyor should still work, right? Oh, and they only work when they're colored. So I guess I could have made that work so I could come back because I have to come back when they're colored. So that's interesting. And that's something I just thought of as I'm doing this, is that my conveyor will push me up until it turns blue. So actually, this might be a really cool design. So let's look at this real quick. Let me make these prizes. This is interesting. So I'm going to change up this screen a little bit in that I'm going to make these walkable. And I'll just make it too high like this. And what I'll do is, let's see, make those just regular ground. Okay, so now I have to wait until they're yellow, I think it was, and then go up, and then I have to wait until they're blue. It's going to be really hard because these statues are right in the way. So let me test that one more time. So I'm teaching, I guess what's important to see in all this is I'm teaching the player how to play the game and what he should be looking for and the different mechanics in the game. And I'm doing it at first in a way that is not all that dangerous. It's not all that hard. It's relatively easy to sort of get through these first levels. It's not a tutorial level. It doesn't just say like, do this thing and, it's, I get stuck there unless, oh no. So I need to figure out why it put me in this spot instead of set warp in location and set me back to this continue point. But anyway, we're going to stop here because we're at 28 minutes today. The whole goal of today's tutorial was to show you guys that now we're actually starting to integrate the pieces and making conscious decisions as to how our levels are designed. And one of the tricks is, make a template screen, set it up the way that you want it to, and then you can copy and paste it across. The other things I might have wanted to set up that I didn't was, remember, I wanted to set all my palettes. So like I wanted to do this: hero, FX, red monster, and blue monster. Okay, and I kind of want that to happen for all of my screens. So now I have to go into each of these individual screens and do that. If I set it on my template first, copied and pasted, all that stuff would copy and paste too, and I wouldn't have to go into each screen and set it. Anyway, we're at 30 minutes today, so I'm going to stop now. I hope that this is helpful in people who are like, I just have no idea how to design levels. The first set of levels that you should probably design are the ones that show your player how to progress through your game in a way that he doesn't instantly die, because then he's not going to understand how to play. it's not going to be fun. So we're showing him how to play the rules of the game in a way that's safe and he can get through pretty easily. And it becomes intuitive. Like, there's nothing else I can do in this screen. I must hit the block. Okay, I got the 2 coins I get. How do I get that one? It has to have something to do with this. I'm going to go. I'm going to try and push it. And then I'm going to eventually start hitting buttons and hit the B button. Oh my goodness, when I'm pressing it and I press the B button, it moves. I get it. Now I know how to use the push block. I come onto this screen. Before I get to that 4th diamond, this thing shoots at me. Okay, look out for the eye. Stay away from the eye. They shoot at you. If I die, I die and I end up on the same screen again. It's not too hard to stay away from it on this screen. I think this screen's actually way too hard for this early in the game, and we want to fix that. But the idea is that we're progressively showing more and more of the mechanics as we go screen by screen, and we can consider this entire first wave of screens like our tutorial level. It's teaching the player how to play the game. On the next set of screens is where we'll actually start to have the real first screens, and maybe I would change the color palette or whatever. And now I'm going to start actual puzzling and really thinking out, like, how can I make this fun and just hard enough? And we'll get progressively harder and more challenging as we go through. Maybe we do 3 screens and 3 screens that are harder, then 3 screens that are harder than that. Maybe we do a whole 16 and then we do a whole nother row of 16 that's a different color. Or maybe it's just all red. It's all one map. Who knows? Anyway, I hope that helped. I hope that was fun and gave you some ideas about how you can approach doing some level design.